Well, hello. Here we are. I am so excited today to have Miss Katie Kinder. Uh,
Hi.
Katie Kinder came into my life through the Bridging to Resilience conference that we just went to. And I have to be honest, I had to have you on to have a chitty chat because all I saw were these teal glasses. And I was like, I need to find out what
I'm
these
gonna send you some.
teal
I'm gonna send you a pair in the
are.
mail. I'm gonna put it in the mail today.
I love it. So, Katie, I want to know, I know that you have a huge history, career in education. I want to hear more about you. And then I have some deep dive questions for you because
Okay.
that's
Well,
what
I'm
we do.
super excited to be here. Stacy was our keynote at Bridging to Resilience, and she knocked it out of the park, everyone. So if you have not heard her keynote, wherever she's gonna be next, you need to like find it and go and listen. So I loved your
Thank
stories
you.
about your daughter. I laughed, I cried. I mean, it was really good. And I'm a study of all speakers. And so sometimes I go in like, all right, let's see what we got here. And you blew me away. So you were
Thank
so
you.
good. Yes, I've been a teacher, instructional coach since 2006. English teacher, high school. I did some high school, and then I really found my place in middle school, eighth grade, seventh, eighth grade, and I am as a speaker, I was also a study of the game as a teacher. You know, I would go and like find the best teacher in the building and I would just go and like be a sponge and listen and watch and because your first couple years you don't know. You just
Yeah.
don't know what you don't know. And so I just became a study of the game and I loved it. I love kids. I love creating experience lessons around topics that are important to them. And I'm about innovation and engagement and how we got to keep up with our kids, especially post pandemic. They've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go back so that we can go forward. So,
Okay.
what in your life caused you to go, I want to be a teacher? How did you land on this profession?
Well, I was a petulant teenager. My mom is an education rock star in Tulsa. She turned around several schools. She is phenomenal. She's retired now, and she likes to call me on a Monday at 10 a.m. and be like, I'm having mimosas with your father. I'm like, live your best life. And so she said to me as I was growing up, like, I think you're a teacher. And so being petulant and a teenager, I was like, you don't know me. And so I went to
How dare you speak into my life, mother
yes,
who knows me better than everyone?
right. And so I went to school to for public relations and journalism, and I did that, and it wasn't awful. I didn't hate it, but it just wasn't like it didn't make my heart pitter pat, you know.
Mhm.
And I credit the Muscular Dystrophy Association for showing me to my calling because I was working there doing event planning, fundraising, and once a month I got to work with the DECA chapters all across the state of Oklahoma.
Oh,
And when I pulled up to a high school, my heart, they were my most favorite days. So I called my mom and I said, You were right. And she grounded me, and I was 24. She took
good
my keys
mom. Good
away.
mom.
And so I went back and I got my certification. I stepped into a ninth grade English class and had zero experience, none. And that's why I say I became a study because, like, I started teaching the way that I'd been taught, which
Mm.
was sit in straight rows, read out of the book, answer the questions in the back. And that's just not how, even in 2006, like, that's not how we learn.
Yeah.
That's not how kids learn. Especially in 2024, we have grown leaps and bounds. So I just started learning and growing and getting better. And that is kind of my journey. And then I started training and speaking, and it's just led to some really cool opportunities.
Yeah. Love that. So I want to chat with you. There's so much I want to chat with you about. So I'm going to try to be very clear on a couple questions. But one of the experiences that I have is when you're a speaker, you go into these worlds where you
Mm,
don't know a lot about what's happening in the district. And
mm-mm.
sometimes you land and you're like, woo, what's happening here? And sometimes you're like, how do I help move this needle for educators? And so you're an educator, you show up with street cred because you're an
Mhm.
educator, you
Yeah.
show up, you're ready to do professional development. I have a lot of questions about this. One, are your professional development trainings fun?
Absolutely. Come hang out.
I think that's an important part because I think educators are tired and they're forgetting to have
Yeah,
fun
yeah,
and there's lots of movement, right?
absolutely. We're gonna get up, we're gonna move, we're gonna do workshops. We are going to laugh. We are gonna remember why we stepped in. Like, you know, there is not a teacher in the world who stepped into a classroom like, I think I'll sit at my desk and yell at kids all day. That is not ever how anyone starts. And so it's just about finding that spark. I also love to pour into my baby teachers. And
Mm,
that's my baby teachers in their first 5 years because they are leaving the profession. 60% quit within the first 5 years. And I
mm,
just feel like we're eating our young. So I do a lot of classroom management, super fun, engaging things. How do you engage these kids in their brain research and what it looks like, and that prefrontal cortex that we know is not developed. And it's about just finding that passion, that fun, and meaning in your work for
yeah.
sure.
What do you think as both an educator but a speaker and you have your hands in a lot. So what do you
I do.
think has been like a meaningful crossroads for you? What do you think has really pushed the needle for you as far as what you've learned, what
Mm,
kind of books you've read? What are the resources that have pushed the
totally.
needle for you?
Well, I mean, early in my career, I got a hold of, Ron Clark's message and books. And so I really started emulating some of the things he was implementing in his school.
Mhm.
Him and Kim Bearden, wonderful. And then, I got a hold of Dave Burgess' Teach Like a Pirate. That is
Mhm.
like became my teacher Bible for a while. And then I wrote my own book in 2021, which is Untold Teaching Truths, which I really wrote for how do we do this? Like, how do we have classroom management, have engaging lessons,
It's
and still,
overwhelming,
yeah,
right?
and still thrive in sometimes a broken sphere. It's still pretty broken. And I'm over there duct taping desks together and trying to, like, how do we not get overwhelmed? How can we still thrive and make sure our kids are thriving? And so I wrote that. And I think what was really cool was when I became an instructional coach. And I had a principal friend who reached out to me and said, I want you to be our instructional coach. I want you to come over. And I was like, it was a different building. I'd never been there. I didn't know the teachers. I was coming from a building where I'd been there for 10 years. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. But I need I need 2 model classrooms. Like, I need you to give me students so my teachers know that I can teach. Because
Mm,
when you walk in and you're like, "I know everything," they they immediately turn their back,
yeah.
right? And that's just unfortunately, like, they're like, "Okay, instructional coach," like, right? And so I needed to be in the trenches with them.
Mm,
And I was, and so my baby teachers could come and watch me teach, and then I could spend the day with them, and I could teach their classes, and even the vet teachers saw that, like, I could teach,
mhm.
and I was pretty good at it, and I had the same kids that they did, so we could troubleshoot together, and I think that's how you lead a school too. Like, I think as a principal, as a superintendent, like, that you're rolling up your sleeves and you are jumping in classes and you're jumping in schools and that you are seen and visible every day.
Yeah, love that. So a couple things I take out of that is the importance of relationship,
Mm,
right? So in order
yeah,
to build
100%.
relationship, you got to be in the trenches. I
Absolutely.
often say we don't take people where we're not willing to go ourselves.
Ooh,
And
I like that. That's
yeah,
treatable.
right. I mean, I never ask a kid anything to do anything I wouldn't do. I don't ask teachers to do anything I wouldn't do. I'm sure as heck not going to go into somewhere and ask them to do something I wouldn't do also. And it sounds like
Absolutely.
that you really value that. And I love that. When you say untold teaching truths, give us a couple of these little nuggets. I have some guesses, but I want to know what are some,
Uh, I
time
mean,
is this like huge asset. And one of the things we do for teachers is we just say, do this, do this, do this, do this. And we just layer like we build cakes of layers. And they're like, how are we going to do all of it? Right. So
right.
tell me some untold teaching truths.
Well, I really struggled with the title, and it's in the book in the forward where I am just talking about what I wanted to call it, and I pulled my friends and all of the different things, and I landed on this because I love alliteration because I'm an English teacher, and it's really part memoir. Like this
Mm,
happened to me. This is where I failed,
yeah.
and this is what you can do differently at part classroom management, part engagement strategies, parts, I mean, it's storytelling, and it's my story, and it's how I teach in my room. And so there's real strategies in there as well. And I just think it's the book. I wrote the book that I needed when I stepped into that classroom and didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And so that's what I say. Like it's the book I would get in the hands of every teacher
Love
in the
that.
world. Yeah.
Love that. So when you are chatting with teachers, coaching teachers, and you feel their exhaustion,
Mm,
how do you meet them? How do you meet them in that exhaustion and then help them co-regulate through it?
absolutely. I'm just connected with all of these teachers all over the nation that will like slide into my DMs like, Katie, Miss Kinder, this happened today. What should I do? And I love that. That's one of the things I love about the work is that once I'm connected to them, I'm always connected to them. And I do meet them in their exhaustion. I get it. Like, cause I've been there. Like I know. And I really focus on like circles of influence. Like there
Mm,
are things, and I'm a big like you can fuss about all of these things at the State Department. You can be upset about what's happening nationally. You can be like high stakes testing. You can like freak out about that. You can, but
mhm.
there's what can you control? Like what are the circle? What is in your circle?
Yeah.
And what's in your circle is your room and
Mm,
your students. So sometimes, and I just posted this today on Twitter, sometimes there's just a lot of noise. And I have to say this to myself too, because I'm a big social justice, like, oh, we're gonna, you know.
yep. Mhm.
And I have to like, and my dad is the one that would say that to me because I would be fussing as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, about soccer, about boys, about this. And he would hold up a circle like this. And I'd be
Mm,
like, okay, circle of influence. And still, as a 42-year-old woman, I'm like, okay, circle of influence, what can I control? And it's really been like a mantra in my life. And so that's really what I start with. Like, can you control engaging and relevant lesson plans in your room? Absolutely. Can
mm,
you laugh with kids? Like, can you like it's hard sometimes because you got the IEP and the PLC and you got to go to this parent meeting and this parent's mad at you and then you have to grade 350. Like, I get it. But can you greet your kids at the door and smile at them and laugh and have a good time? You get them for 1 year. And that's really what I focus on.
love that. So in my life, we call those micro moments. And the
Mm,
micro moments really make up who we are and how we're living our life, right? And
yeah.
I love that whole turning down the noise. And so I think that overwhelm comes from all the input that we get that may not be actually appropriate for our life. Like, I don't actually really need to read the news every day. It doesn't impact my circle of influence, right? My sphere of influence.
Right. Right.
I don't need to know what's going on in 14 other classrooms with all these other kids because they're not in my
Mhm.
classroom.
100%.
And
100%.
I love that. I think that's a really important lesson that I often think is really missed. And so I appreciate that you're really talking through that. And then how do teachers absorb that when you say that?
It depends. There's a spectrum. There's a spectrum. Usually it's really positive just to like give them the time to collaborate, to talk things out. They don't get it. So when they do get a PD day and they bring in a PD presenter or whatever and they're like, "Oh, I need time in my classroom. I need this." Like I get it. And then they'll leave and be like, "God, that was that was awesome." And I'm like, "Well, good. Like stay in contact. Let's talk about it." And they it's it's good. People are like, you remind me that I can be fun, that I can laugh with kids, that kids are more than a piece of data. I think a lot of times, they're like, well, these are your scores, and this kid is why, why is this kid doing this and that, and why aren't they reading? And I'm like, I don't know. Are they loved? Have we loved them first? And I think I give them license to do some of that. And when we love our kids and when we have engaging lesson plans and when they know you're pouring into them every day, they are going to learn. They
Mhm.
are.
Yeah, they
And
can't not learn.
yeah, yeah.
Can't
Is
not.
your classroom safe? Like that's number one. Is it physically safe? Is it, psychologically safe? And so those are the kind of things that I focus on.
Yeah. Love that. When you talk about safety, let's just go there for a few minutes. So, what creates a safe classroom?
I think, those first 6 to 9 weeks are exhausting. There's a reason that teachers come home and are like, oh, those first 6 to 9 weeks, because you are teaching procedures. And I'm always about like, yes, we have fun, but everything is flat rigorous. I mean, it's up here. I hold kids to high expectations.
Mhm.
And I think that's doing what's right for kids, holding them to high expectations. And so some things that are allowed at home aren't going to be allowed at school. And I just use a lot of love and logic, like, because you are going to have a kid come in and like take the pencil and throw it up and try to stick it into the ceiling or like talk across the room to his buddy. And then that can very quickly get out of control. Right. And then nobody's learning because nobody's safe. And so I just use a lot of love and logic. Like, oh, you don't realize, Stacy, that we don't talk out in Miss Kinder's room. Do you have a question? Like right now we're doing individual work. Like, do you have a question? And I just smile at them and like they pretty quickly like get it.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of my principals will have sent a new teacher and they're like, well, I didn't know we could do that. I'm like, you didn't know? You could tell them, hey, I love you too much for that. We ain't playing
Yeah.
today. And don't they're going to push boundaries because they're kids, like 100%. But they don't really want a chaotic classroom. That's scary. And they don't want to be in charge. They want you to be in charge. And I say that all the time. Like we have each other's backs. We're going to be kind. And they start to believe it and practice it. And it's awesome. Yeah.
Love that. I often tell teachers, you're the cortex. Teachers are the
Court.
cortex. And so,
Ooh.
right, because that prefrontal cortex isn't totally developed. And so when we
Yes.
talk about boundaries, we talk about holding expectations, we talk about restoration, we talk about all those restorative practice, teachers are the cortex.
I love
Teachers are
that.
the cortex because they
Court.
don't have one. They don't
Yeah.
have one. They're not capable of that
One.
decision making, problem solving, critical thinking. They can't go, oh, I'm talking out across the classroom and that's
Right.
distracting 17 of my buddies.
Right.
They're no, and kids are selfish. They have to
Yeah.
focus on themselves. So
Yeah.
I love those really important examples because safety is not only, and you say 6 to 9 weeks, that's such a critical time frame.
Mm,
Safety isn't created in one day. It's not
mm-mm.
created in one interaction. It's not created in one micro moment. It's created in this extended period of time that is
Absolutely.
exhausting, where you're
It is.
holding expectation, you're setting boundaries, your energy is also excited. And so
Yeah.
we're here to learn and we got business to take care of. So
Yeah.
let's figure out how to do that as a group.
And it can be hard. I mean, it's difficult. Like, don't get me
Yeah, of
wrong.
course.
It's not easy. And I'm a morning person. So like 7:30 in the morning, I'm like, yeah. And after lunch, I get into a carb coma and I have to remember like it's not fifth and sixth hours fault that they have me at the end of the day. Like I've got to drop that mic every day. I've got to bring that energy to them. And oftentimes my kids at the end of the day, they are tired too and they've been doing rigorous things, but they become my favorite classes because I'm like, okay, let's get down to it. And if I can hold my energy up, then they will too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much of your story has been self-reflection, deep dive into understand your own nervous system, understanding
Mhm.
your own needs? As you're talking about, like after lunch, I have this energy
Yeah.
dip. I got to be aware of that.
Mm.
How much time have you spent just observing and noticing yourself?
I wanna say in the last, like, 5 years, really, like, at the pre-pandemic, 2018, 19, 20, we really started getting into that
Mhm.
and noticing, like, regulating and how to breathe. And I teach my kids that too. Like, I have a whole sequence of the brain-based classroom, like how colors matter and how movement matters and I teach my kids that too. And I think it's really important that the adults in your life can regulate because the kids can't regulate if you're out of control. And we know that. And that's hard. It's messy human work. Like you can have a kid come blow up your classroom and it has zero to do with you. And maybe they're gonna harm another kid that's in your room and who you love. Like, I mean, you're put in some spots that are tight. And I think it's remembering to breathe and to regulate and then also to apologize when you are human. Like, hey, I got frustrated and I said that and I'm worried about it and I'm going to apologize to you. Like, we're never going to be too big to apologize to our kids. Like, we can't. Like, we have to go find them and say, hey, I'm sorry. Usually my kids are like, Miss Kinder, like, why are you worrying about that? That was yesterday. Like, shh, we're over it. And so I think that's really important.
Well, and those relationship fractures are important to repair. And it sounds like when you seek
Absolutely.
them out, you're modeling that, right? You're
Mhm,
you're not going to ask them to do something you're not willing to do, even
mhm.
if they don't think it's a big deal. And it's interesting to me that you said 18, 19, 20, we were starting to do some of the self-reflection. We're starting to ask students to notice. We're starting, and then pandemic hits.
Oh my gosh.
So what have you observed from these beautiful pandemic years? Because I
I kind
feel like it's catching up, right? Like we're there. We've noticed the developmental lapse. We've noticed that there's some things that are occurring.
Sure.
This week I was at a basketball game and it was a high school basketball game. All of the high school boys were sitting in one place in the audience and all of the high school girls were sitting in another place. And I really tuned into that and I was like, this is what they used to do in middle school. And now
Right, right.
well, we have not integrated. I'm very concerned about what this means
Yeah,
socially down the
yeah,
road. So, what are some things you've observed since we've been through this major
yeah.
global
I
trauma?
mean, they are global trauma. They are missing that 2-year, like, chunk, that gap, like, those integral years, and my own kids were in middle school when it
Same,
happened.
same.
Yeah, yeah, and so I can see it with them too, like, they're just a little bit my husband will be like, "Our daughter's a junior, why would she think that?" I'm like, you know, there's just some emotional maturity that we're missing. What I've noticed too, like anything pre-pandemic that we were struggling with as teachers and educators and teaching kids was just magnified by 100 post-pandemic. So our
Mm,
kids who are tech addicted, our kids who can't talk to one another without blowing up, they're deeply isolated. And I think it has become part of our mission and job to teach them how to speak to one another. And I think a lot of teachers miss that because they're like, okay, well, we're going to read and then we're going to answer the questions, you're going to write. But what about the speaking? Like, you think about how babies develop, like, they start babbling first and that's what we need to be doing with our kids, like sitting in Socratic circles and talking about text or feelings and bringing the academic language up here. And so that is something that I love to do with my kids and teach them how to do that moving forward as an adult.
yeah. I love that. I think that the idea of just kids practicing talking to each other in person,
Mm,
face to face, is something that's so critical. And what I've noticed is teachers who are allowing middle school and high school kids to just have those conversations, 5 or 10 minutes, just checking in with each other. Let's actually have a discussion. Our phones are put away. We're not
mhm,
snapping. We're not
mhm.
looking down. We're looking at them. Those relationships are starting to build and those kids are feeling safe. That's a piece of that safety.
Yeah.
I think, and we talked about this at the Bridging to Resilience conference. Kids these days are struggling
Right.
with just interacting with each
Mhm.
other. It's really hard to read those cues. Do you think that needs to be in place for kids to learn?
Do I think speaking needs to be in place?
The connection and the talking to each other.
Oh, Absolutely. And this is what I tell my teachers too. Like, there's no AI or chat GPT or any sort of technology that's going to replace you,
Yeah,
because you have to walk alongside kids during tough things. And that's a human connection. And we are meant to connect. We're built to connect. We're built to go to Bridging to Resilience and listen to you and get up and talk to the person next to us and learn together. And that is how kids who are deeply connected learn better than kids who feel isolated. Like, that's just research. We know that. So
love this.
yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, I just think it's important to reiterate that. Okay, so we're digging into the most important question that I have for you. I need to know about these teal glasses.
Stacy, I if
You
you
you are so known though. I tried to get into one of your breakouts and it didn't line up with all the things.
oh,
And then all these people are like just walking around like that was the best day of my life. And I'm like, how did I miss this? How did I miss the best day of my life? So I wanted to because it's a
sweet.
here's what I like about it. Okay. One, it immediately brought people together. Okay.
It
Before
did.
you answer this question of what these are about.
Okay.
Two, it is a tangible item that someone is holding on to that reminds them of what you taught them. And
Yeah.
so every time they see those, they're like, oh, Miss Kinder taught me this. Oh, Katie's there. I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
Mm, yeah.
And then I'm like, it's also just awesome.
Right.
Okay, I'll stop talking.
Well, they became kind of like, it was on accident. Like, if you look at some old posts of me, I have on red glasses, I have on, black ones, I have like, and I would have different ones for different, but I started really wearing these like every day. And I would be standing outside of a breakout room waiting to go in to speak, and they would have looked through the app or the program, and people were already coming up to me before I spoke and being like, "Oh, like you're the speaker." And I'm like, "I am." And then I had friends, and it wasn't just me, like I had friends be like, "You've got to lean into this." And so we started to, and I started getting those fake glasses, and I think it was Darren Pepper, Dr. Darren Pepper, who said, "You need to get fake ones and throw them out." And I'm like, well, that's a really good idea. So I found them that look pretty similar, but they don't have lenses. And there's a little tag on them that just says, if you hashtag Katie Kinder from OKC, Untold Teaching Truth, and I would put them out, and then people went nuts for them.
Yeah,
And I have a buddy here, and I've just started embedding it in everything. Like, there's always
love it.
going to be a pair of these teal glasses in anything that I do, and it has made me really recognizable. Like, people be like, "Oh, you're that teal glasses lady. Like, I saw you on." And then people are walking around the conference with their fake ones, and I have people like, "I need a pair. Will you send them to me in the mail, please? I'll Venmo you." I'm like, "I'll so," so funny. And they are, and I love that you said that. You're gonna make me cry. Like, yeah, they're a representation of that. And I have a friend who is still in the classroom and teaching middle school, and he was like, "I need a pair of those glasses." And I'm like, "Okay." So I took them over to his middle school, and I got to hang out with his class, and he was doing a Socratic seminar with 6th graders. And he was like, "They just don't know, like, they have to be wearing the glasses to speak." So these
Mhm.
kids are like,
Wearing
putting the
teal
glasses on.
glasses.
He texts me like, "They broke. I need you to come today with other ones." I brought him like 5 pairs. I'm like, "Here."
Yeah. So tell me what about that makes you feel those like feelings? Like what about that tears you up?
Well, I mean, just like, you know, we have students years later come back and be like, "Gosh, remember that lesson that you did?" And I have a kid that just messaged me last week, and she was like, "Miss Kinder, I'm at UCO, which is a college close by my house." And she was like, "I didn't know what my major was going to be, but I just decided that I want to be an English teacher. I want to be the you that I had." And I'm like bawling. And
Yeah.
now, like, my new mission, my new goal is to love on all of these baby teachers and to remind them that it's that you're not alone. And gosh, that makes me want to cry. Stacy Nation, you're good at it. Gosh, you're good at it.
Well, I think it's really important to say this to you, Katie, because this is the first real conversation you and I have ever had. So our listeners probably don't know that. And
Right.
I think there's something, I say this to people who, like you never underestimate the power of your impact.
Mm,
And
yeah.
you are impacting people all over the world. And it's
Oh,
so important for you to just know that how you show up, who you are, the authenticity and alignment in your energy and your honesty impacts people in a way that is changing a really oppressive system.
yeah.
And
Oh,
it's so, I needed to say that to you today because it's important for you to hear that. Because when you're in the grind, you got a family,
oh, yeah.
you're out speaking, you're out traveling, you're out changing the world. And there's a lot to that, right? There's a lot when you're in a different state and you're like, oh, I'm back at my hotel. I could be with my family. What am I missing? You are
Yeah.
giving parts of yourself to change a system that's really important. And I just appreciate that so, so much.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, it's an honor to be here today with you. I think we're going to need a round two, or at least we're going to have to go to dinner the next time we're together in the same space.
I agree. I agree. So tell people, how can we find you? I mean, I found you because I hunted you down, but how do we find you?
You can go to katiekinder.com. I'm on all the socials, and you can find me at Untold Teaching Truth on Instagram. I'm Googleable, which sounds weird to say. Somebody messaged me the other day, was like, I forgot your name, from Ohio middle level educators, but I remember that you were that teal glasses lady. And I put that in and it came up. I'm like, oh my gosh.
This is awesome. I love that. I love that.
Uh,
Okay.
so,
So
yeah.
if you are listening and you want professional development, you want a
Mm,
book study you could do with your teachers, you want to reach out, katiekinder.com. Katie's on
yes.
all the DMs. You will not be disappointed in your energy and connection with Katie. So thank
Oh,
you for
Stacey, thank
having me here
you.
today.
This was fun.
Thanks for being with me. I said for having me here. Thanks for being with me, for you being with me today. All right. Bye. I will see you soon.
Bye.